the Kendall, having solar lamp will make it is look at Kendamanila for a solar enterprise.
Follow the movie and Yambanko can get them to it.
Sumanu baro, Unjurunko, Ikonga Faleko, Namu Badabanta, Bila Sola, and Yagambia Vino, Amira Solar Enter, Nasola Enterprise. Sola Nimbati can do, Kurao, Deda Sala, Aboros in Enamo, Kagis and Odila, Amira Solar Enter, Nasola Enter, Nasola Enterprise. Ah, Jaliwo, Sola Kende Soto, yeah, Jaliman Fofena, O Sola Kende Soto. Na enterprise, Sumanu baro, Unjurunko.
Event marking the launching of Africell's Impact Foundation. This Impact Foundation is meant to signify Africell's drive and our leap forward in trying to deliver what is the biggest of social corporate responsibilities that we've ever witnessed in this country and beyond. And I'm amidst this afternoon We are very humbled to welcome the First Lady, Her Excellency, Fatou, and Africell's Woman of the Year recipient award. We're so proud to have you here this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming in. Amongst the reps from the government, we have the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, my brother, friend, and trouble in Honorable Mamadou Tangara. Welcome. Honorable Ahmad Ba is a friend of Africell, true and true. You're most welcome. Honorable Fatou is the first to have ever manned a ministry created by a woman for women and children and gender in this country. And we equally congratulate you for being returned to that office, all due to your stellar delivery of job in that ministry. Thank you so much for being with us. A representative of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary, your peers, welcome. Your Excellency, the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, you're most welcome. Cromer and your husband, wonderful to see you. And all distinguished ladies and gents, welcome here today. All of you from our head office, Ian Peterson, our Chief Investment Officer, you're most welcome. And of course, Mahazi, our legal officer, all from London, Nadia and team, you're most welcome. And of course, those gentlemen here to speak on our behalf and represent what Africell is. This is your event. This is for all of us. Proud to have you. And mostly what we do in this country, we don't do anything without that little praise, whatever it means. Before saying anything, Housen Sisa is our guest. I mean, I'll allow him. He's our host. I'll allow him to come and really do his thing. But let's also just give him a lot of applause. He is the Director General of this place, that's the National Center for Arts and Culture, who's a friend of Africell, who's been doing so much with us over the years. Thank you so much for being here and for hosting us. What should I say about our chairman? Chairman infatigable, Zia Delou, the man of the moment. Thank you. Let's applaud. The event belongs to Sign, our CEO, but as I said, let's just indulge in some prayers to guide us through this event. Thank you. Thank you. Sign, before I ask you, I just want everyone to give a huge round of applause to Ambassador Peter Fatou. Some of us as international communication students and international relations students do stumble on the name Peter Fatou earlier on, or for research reasons, onto most of his contributions on most of the international outlets. Little did I know that I will cross paths with him later on in my professional career. Having you here is just immense, and we thank you. Thank you for being here. And of course, our ambassador, you know, how about the PS Officer of the First Lady, Alimatu Tamedo. Thank you for being here. We thank you. Now, without wasting much ado, let me just call on the Honorable Your Excellency Peter Fatou just to give his opening remarks. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's a privilege to be here. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellency, Ambassador Cromer, and your husband, and dear friends, all protocols observed. It's good to be here in the Gambia, and it's good to be here at the National Museum of the Gambia, a wonderful institution, and it feels appropriate to be holding today's event on these historic grounds. I'm here in my capacity as an executive director of the Africell Group, and thrilled to be announcing the Africell Impact Foundation. It's a special moment for us in the Africell family. It's something we've been contemplating for a long time. And if I go back quite a number of years to when I first met Ziad, we didn't know there was a foundation, but we talked about some of these very things at that time, some of these commitments. The foundation opens an exciting new chapter for Africell's work here in the Gambia. Social impact is in Africell's DNA. We see no contradiction between commercial success and empowering local communities. The telecom sector in particular has a unique potential to bring people together for good. For Africell, our success is judged by the positive impact we have on the communities we serve, including here in the Gambia. Businesses like Africell play a vital role in strengthening community. Previously, we looked at governments as being responsible for this responsibility. But increasingly we recognize, though governments have an important role to play and need to play, we recognize that companies are also part of that story. And applying ourselves to the task of driving Gambia forward is what we do at Africell here and have done for 20 years. So under the oversight of the Africell Impact Foundation, Africell will continue to invest in social initiatives and projects across the Gambia as it has done ever since the business opened here. We'll use our expertise as a digital technology company to make an impact in 4 priority areas that we've identified: education and entrepreneurship, arts, culture, and heritage, health, sports, and well-being, and, when necessity brings it up, emergency relief and environmental action. Education and entrepreneurship are the lifeblood of any society. Educated citizens have more opportunities to fulfill their potential. They're empowered to start organizations that create jobs, generate incomes, and spread prosperity. And we'll continue to support education enterprise by digitizing critical tools and resources. This is what we've done with Geek Express, for example, a program giving school children valuable exposure to cutting-edge technologies. Now, close to my heart is arts, culture, and heritage, a second impact area. These are important too because they bind communities together. The Africell Impact Foundation gives a digital and physical platform to arts, culture, and heritage in all our operating areas, including here in the Gambia. Programs such as our partnership with the National Museum of the Gambia will help tell more stories which celebrate the energy, the dynamism, and the creativity of this country and its people. We're also focused on health, sports, and well-being, and the Africell Impact Foundation will promote active lifestyles, give people access to better information, and push talented athletes to realize their potential. Africell was proud to partner with the Gambia Football Federation during the Scorpions' fairy tale journey to Cameroon, and we want to help turn their inspiring achievements into a long-term legacy. Finally, as a mobile operator with a nationwide presence and a global footprint, and I might also add, as a US company operating in this area, we also have a responsibility to work with the government, with NGOs and civil society, as well as other companies, to build social resilience and respond to crises when they occur. The Africell Impact Foundation will activate Africell's experience, skills, and resources in times of emergency. And going forward, the foundation will also drive Africell's local response to broader global challenges, such as climate change. The creation of the Africell Impact Foundation is an acceleration, not a change of course. By bringing our cultural and community work into a streamlined structure, we will maximize the impact and reach more people. And I want to thank everyone at the Africell Gambia team, Sign, and his colleagues for all their hard work and commitment to this vision so far. And on behalf of our chairman, Ziad Dalul, and on behalf of the Africell group, I invite our friends and partners, many of whom are here and honor us with their presence, to join us for this exciting next chapter in our journey. Thank you very much.
To the inaugural launching of Africell Impact Foundation. As we said earlier on, Africell since its inception 20 years ago has had and has been in the forefront of everything that's impactful in Gambian life, as name it, whether it's education, sports, health, agriculture. We've been in the drive, the driving seat, and of course impacting every single aspect. Reference is made to our most dramatic of entries into the AFCON, and Africell made it possible for the Gambia, and we're so proud to champion such a wonderful sojourn. And we hope to repeat the same thing in 2023 when we qualify for African 20 in Ivory Coast. And later, the qualifiers begins next week, hopefully against Sudan, victory against South Sudan in Senegal. But more pressing is the issue of our stadium, which the MD has talked about earlier on, and the First Lady is nodding to it. But we also thank you for your support during that difficult period. I was in Cameroon, and this First Lady will not leave me alone. She wants to know everything that's happening every second, every minute, as if she was there. That just shows your passion. And thank you. And next, I just want to welcome a gentleman who has been so much of an innovative driver into what is our health system. Somebody who is dynamic, somebody who we believe has become a genuine partner of Africell, who's also going to be here to say a word or two. But it's good that before he comes over here, Dr. Ismail Abadi, I just want you to applaud him in a moment before he comes down here, just for us to see. And we're so happy to have you amongst our midst today, and hopefully your invitation in here would be well demonstrated when you speak to this audience. Next, I want to call our MD. How do we call him? Hussein? He's everything. CEO of Africell, Mr. Hussein Jabdani.
Thank you very much, Musa. Before I go further, I would like to reiterate again, in recognizing the presence of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of the Gambia, Madam Fatou Barrow. Thank you so much for coming here. My good brother and big brother, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperations and Gambians Abroad, Honorable Mamadou Tangara. My uncle, father, the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Mr. Hamad Ba. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Madam Fatou Kinte. Thank you very much for coming. And of course, Her Excellency, the U.S. Ambassador, Madam Sharon Cromer. Thank you so much for coming. Representatives of KMC, the CEO of KMC, the Director of Planning, thank you very much for coming. The PS of the First Lady's Office, Halimata Tambedu, thank you for coming. Thank you so much for all of your support. I would also like to commend the NCAC, its Board of Directors, and its management team for their relentless support and unwavering attention when it comes to initiatives related to Africell. A very special thank you to Dr. Hasum, Director Hasum, for always giving us the time, the day, the support, and the energy we need to drive our initiatives. Thank you. And of course, again, all of this wouldn't have happened without the overall supervision of the Honorable Minister himself, Hamad Ba. Thank you very much for your support. Finally, a big welcome and thank you to the representatives of the Africell Group, headed by our chairman, Mr. Ziad Daloul, joining us all the way from our London office, and in the case of Mr. Ambassador Pham from Washington, thank you so much. The announcement of the Africell Impact Foundation is an exciting development for all of us here in the Gambia. Over the past 20 years, Africell has invested significantly in a wide variety of social projects. Social impact, as rightly put by the ambassador, is intertwined with our DNA. I believe I speak for all my colleagues when I say that being involved in these projects which makes such a difference to the lives of people within our community, is extremely rewarding. In many cases, for some of us, it's actually very emotional. It feels almost like 30 years ago. It's like yesterday. I myself visited the museum for the first time. A young, naive boy getting exposed to what it was to be Gambian, what our culture and our heritage had in store for us. Oh boy, what I would give to go back to my younger self and let him know that some 30 years in the future, I would be part of something that would transform this place into something magnificent. Only words can't express how I feel. I'm proud to work for an organization that prioritizes the needs of communities and takes such an ambitious approach into social responsibilities. I am honored to be part of something that makes an impact. The launch of the Africell Foundation will also mark the beginning of the transformation which is going to take place here in the museum. The creation of the Africell Impact Foundation is a logical and important next step, and it makes sense to be doing it right now. Going forward, it will have practical benefits for the community-focused work we do in the Gambia. Thanks to the streamlined vision and structure of our work, we are going to be getting more momentum and drive to deliver what we need to do. The aim of the foundation is, above all, to connect people to opportunities. Connecting people is what Africell does every day, day in, day out, through our core business of mobile network operations. But this broader concept of connection, the idea of connecting communities to the digital and physical resources they need to build better futures, this is the core of the Africell Foundation's ethos. The team has been busy in recent months driving progress and achieving results in the 4 impact areas that Ambassador Fatou spoke about. Some of them are spelled out all over the board you see around us. We have been involved in many initiatives. All deserve recognition, but there are just too many to list individually. I would like to highlight a few of them, however. By utilizing Africell's core technology for the purpose of creating change in one or more of our impact areas, the Geek Express exposed 2,000 students in various communities to exciting technologies which will shape our future. Our sponsorship of the Mighty Scorpions allowed others, not only ourselves, to be part of the donation process and feel that they're contributing to the betterment of the nation at large. Our ongoing efforts with the government, with their response to COVID-19, ensures that contact tracing, data, uploading of information is always subsidized by Africell. The free mini-access sports grounds and outdoor gyms with free internet connection we will be building in various locations, the first of which is almost complete at the traffic light on Kerr Avenue, will lighten the mood, promote health, and encourage a good work-life balance within the community. These initiatives, amongst others, exemplify the spirit and the vision of the Africell Impact Foundation. And trust me, many more will follow. I just don't want to ruin the surprise for now. As Ambassador Fatou said, the announcement of the foundation is the next phase of a journey that began a long time ago. Its launch means that work Africell does to empower individuals and strengthen communities will be more targeted and effective. It will also have a clear long-term impression for this country and the communities within it. Africell couldn't do what it does without the support and collaboration of a huge list of organizations and individuals. I would therefore like to end by thanking everyone who has worked with us to drive positive change in the Gambia. I hope that the creation of the foundation will see our valuable partnerships go from strength to strength and not only have a lasting impression on all of us now, but also have an impact for generations yet to come. Thank you.
CEO, this is what the essence of being here today, that is to hear what Africell is about, and of course where we want to go next for your attention, you the public, and everyone who cares about Africell. Before going any further, I just want to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Bakari Baji, who is also very key and a supporter and a believer of Africell in what we do. Thank you so much for coming, albeit the schedule is tight, but we value your presence in here today. Thank you very much. Moving on quickly, I wanted to talk about Dr. Ismail Abaji before the host in Dr. Hausum Sise speaks to us in acknowledging their presence here. Dr. Ismail Abaji is a young Gambian, and he is one who has really innovated what is our entire outlook on health. And we at Africell are very happy to have been associated with him. Even during the COVID period, he was one person who was very much inclined to be with us, to tell us all that we need and how do we keep ourselves safe. And tonight, we welcome you here, Doctor. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing with us. And let me humbly welcome him to give his remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, First Lady of the Republic of the Gambia, honorable ministers present here today, Your Excellency, Ambassador Cromer and the husband, Africell team, CEO, and team from all over the world, welcome. I'm humbled today. When Sign reached out for me to give remarks, the first question I asked was, how does healthcare and a telecommunications company, where do they meet? And when you mentioned the word impact, a lot of people could view impact differently. For somebody who's lived half of my life in the US, I tell people companies could have impact anywhere in the world. Some companies in more modern worlds could have impact that could make life 10% better for 5% of the population, and they'll be applauded. But companies that have impact in places like the Gambia or Africa could make life better for 90% of the population. They could make life better 99%. To me, that's what Africell has always signified. Because somebody who lived in Gambia, companies did not have a DNA of corporate social responsibility until Africell came about. So I told Sign, I thought you always had a CSR. So if anything, I think today just marks the day that they officialize their work. But what they've shown the Gambian people across sectors have been a living testament that there's more to purpose than just providing value. So I commend Africell for everything they've done and leading up to this day. Oftentimes in history, I think we're in the middle of a revolution, the way we had an industrial revolution. We're in the telecommunications revolution, where 200 years from now, we'll look back at this moment in time and see the role telecoms companies had in Africa. Which brings me to the question, how does healthcare come into the picture? The Gambia now have access to healthcare because they have access to an Africell SIM card. He was like, why is that? It's like in 2022, having an Africell SIM card has done a couple of things. It's leapfrogged individuals who don't have a bank account because of AfriMoney solutions. From a healthcare standpoint, if a company like Innovarex now could provide healthcare services virtually using telemedicine, home deliveries, all through telecoms, it's more than a SIM card. And the fact that the COVID-19 was a prime example of how one company did more in educating people on the effects of their health, the impact of the COVID, that to me was more than just a telecommunications company. I think that was a stamp in their commitment to creating a healthier Gambia. So that's how important Africell is when it comes to health and awareness. So as a company, I'm a living testament of their commitment, but also even in the area of sports. When it comes to healthcare, we often think healthcare is expensive. That's what they normally tell you. Healthcare is not expensive. Healthcare gets expensive when it's too late. Healthcare is expensive when it's too late. It's cheaper to get your blood pressure checked than it is to get a kidney transplant. But when the narrative of Africa is mentioned, we focus more on how many people can't we give a kidney function, not how many people could we educate on the impact of non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. So healthcare is not expensive. The awareness is where you have impact. And that's why the partnership with Innovarex and Africell meant a lot to us, because we told them, did you know you could create access, you could democratize access to care by making sure every single one of your users knows that if you exercise 3 times a week for about 50 minutes, you have less likelihood of having heart disease. If you check your blood pressure every single month, you have a lower likelihood of having hypertension and diabetes. And now we could have data. That's the power of technology. So we could walk into any institution like this gathering, and if we tested every single person's blood pressure, I could tell you that 40% of the individuals in here are either hypertensive or borderline. How do I know it's 40%? Since 2019, we've been screening Gambians for diabetes and hypertension at no cost. Africell has been one of our supporters in that. 4 out of 10 Gambians that we screen for blood pressure are already hypertensive or borderline. 4 out of 10. If that doesn't tell us that there's problems that's festering in our ecosystem, we should all be concerned about that. So now as a nation, we know that people are no longer dying from diabetes, from malaria, for example, HIV. Health and wellness is one of the key areas in any fund that could transform Africa forever, because we're the youngest continent on the world. Majority of the Africans are not even 25 years old. So a day like this where Africell commits to health and wellness, they're committed to building a healthy generation that could outlive and change the narrative, where now we don't celebrate opening new hospitals because our hospital beds are empty. That's the reality. So I just want to commend them for their commitment to health and wellness, their commitment to sports. The Honorable Minister is here. Every single sporting activity that I recall has Africell's backing on it. There's never been a health initiative when it comes to dealing with the healthcare workers in the nation, dealing with the health systems in moments of crisis that they have not been a part of. So to all of you guys here, I just want to commend Africell, their leadership team, and everybody involved, but also as a company in the private sector, reaffirm our commitment to being step-by-step with you guys to really transform what health and wellness would mean not only to Gambia, but the entire sub-region. So I thank you guys.
Just to reiterate what you said, just last week, the entire staff at Africell headquarters were all screened. And as he mentioned, most of us knew our state, and some of us was scary, but it was a coordinated event, and most of us has taken, you know what, I need to go and start exercising right away. I can't be in this state. Thank you for that. Speaking of health, and of course we're just merging out of COVID-19, and Africell was in the forefront of making a difference in our drive to fight COVID. We've been the single biggest supporter of the health system, the single biggest donor of the health system. I think even today we continue to support the health sector in our provision of data and credit, and of course tablets, just for them to be able to keep data, record data, and make sure that the job is done in hours. Moving on quickly, our host this afternoon is none other than Dr. Houssam Cisse. I call him Professor Emeritus because of his immense knowledge of what it is that our history has become. He's a source. Houssam has been a traveling lecturer around the continent in trying to really impart what history is, and he's one person the Gambia is proud of, and Africell is very proud of associating with you in terms of what you mean to the Gambia. I host a lot of programs with Houssam on the radio, just telling the young generation what is Gambia and how far Gambia has come. Houssam Cisse, please, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to welcome Her Excellency, the First Lady, Fatou Babaro. You are welcome, and your team, the PS. Also want to welcome members of the High Table. I'm starting with my own minister and brother, from Salom, and mentor and supporter and advisor. I'm Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmad Ngeba. Honorable, thank you for coming. So, Honorable Minister, Dr. Tangara, my good friend, yeah, I'm happy to have you here again, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, our good brother, you are also welcome. The Honorable Minister of Gender, Women and Social Affairs, Madam Kinde, you are welcome and thanks for coming. Very, in fact, earlier than me. To Her Excellency, the U.S. Ambassador, and your husband. And thanks for paying a visit to the museum. You went to the Stone Circles last week. We met on the way. When your convoy was leaving, I was getting into the compound. So I missed you just, but thanks for making the visit to that heritage site. I also want to welcome Chairman Ziad. Welcome to the museum again. This is the third time we are receiving you here, and we do so with pleasure. To Ambassador, our friend, Ambassador Peter, welcome again to the NCAC and to the National Museum. I also want to welcome the CEO of Africell, our brother, Mr. Diab Ghanim. You are welcome, CEO, and your team. To Dr. Baji too, and representing the board of the National Center for Arts and Culture, Mr. Board Member, Mr. Adama Jimbojo, to all the artists here present, Jaliba, Jali Matar, the musicians, the fine artists here present, and the press. I wish to welcome all of you to the premises of the Gambia National Museum and the head office of the National Center for Arts and Culture. It is our inestimable pride to host this historic moment, the launch ceremony of the Africell Impact Foundation. The foundation will have as its first activity of corporate social responsibility the rehabilitation of the National Museum and its grounds into a new, modern, purpose-fitted museum which will enhance our cultural pride, protect our heritage resources, boost cultural national identity, and support tourism and the Gambian economy. Mr. Chairman, esteemed guests, honorable ministers, Your Excellency, the First Lady, I am happy to say that for the past 18 months, we at the NCAC have worked with Africell to make this project a reality. And this effort culminated in the signing of an agreement between us and Africell in November 21. Since then, Africell, through their management, has provided us the needed material to ensure the safekeeping of the cultural objects while the work is ongoing. For example, 2 40-feet containers have been put at our disposal and are in place at the art grounds to house the objects. So therefore, I can say, so far, so good in our partnership. Africell Gambia Limited is a genuine supporter of arts and culture in this country. Our artists across the wide spectrum of the art sector get support from Africell to enhance their artistic creativity in numerous ways and means. For this, on behalf of the Gambian artistic family, I convey thanks and gratitude to Africell Gambia Limited Management and Board. Finally, I wish to recognize the strong and dedicated effort of my minister and his permanent secretary, our board, and the NCAC staff, who are all on board to ensure the success of the project. Africell Gambia Limited staff, led by their ebullient CEO, Mr. Diab Ghanim, and his team, all of them, from Musa here, George, our good friend, Carl, Waka, Iro, and all the others are working in the shadows. I can say, Mr. Chairman, your team are hands-on. Yeah, they are hands-on people. I will add and call them a fine team. For example, for the past week, in preparation for this event, The Africell MD and his team have been here up to 3 times to ensure that everything goes well. I have no doubt that the same care and dedication to delivery will be shown when the museum enhancement work starts. I thank you all for coming.
This is what Africell is about. We're a team and a family that works together to deliver, and we have no second thought in when we set out to do anything, because it's, as you mentioned, it's our human genome, and we just get out to deliver on behalf of the Gambian public. Gambia is our home, and we can't afford to do any less. That is what's the desire, that's what's the goal, and it's always on course. There's some nice snacks and drinks being served around, so please just feel free that the waiters will be coming around just to have a good afternoon before we leave. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who is here this afternoon to grace this human impact, and I call it a human impact foundation launching, because that's what it is. We impact human life. It's not just anything out there with verbatim. This is what we do, and we're a believer of the Gambian society. We're a believer in human capabilities. We're a believer in what we have as a business, as a company, and that's why we do what we do in the most extraordinary manner. And we cannot do some of those things without the support of the First Lady. And it's just absolutely wonderful that you can knock on this lady's door anytime and she will have the curtains open for you. You don't get those things made around in this world. I don't think we do. So we need to come in for your humility, for your down-to-earth nature to things, and for appreciating and accepting Africell. We are so proud of your association, and we commend you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And to everyone here this afternoon, my sister Fatou in your office, we're so proud. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course my brother and Honorable Minister Bakari Baji, the sportsman, you know me, so you know the deal. So thank you for being here. We're going to march on, we're going to ride on. Africell is always going to be here with you, supporting you all through. The desire is the same, the goal is the same, the ambition is the same. So we march on. Honorable Amaba, thank you so much. Musa will keep calling. Musa calls. Musa answers. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thank you so much for representing the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Housing. To everyone who's from head office, we thank you so much. That is Jad and team, Ian, Mahasi, Sam, you name it, Maris, Antoine. We thank you so much for coming. Please do keep coming. This is Gambia, this is your home. Nadia, please keep coming, and we love you. And to everyone, please, the artists, and of course the media and press here present, we thank you so much for coming. This is what Africell believes in. This is what we do. The team is just a team, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Agada.
Mbijano aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Kosa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijano.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Ah, janno mi yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bele. Ha. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bele to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Ha wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanina ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.